I'm Sunny Baker, and I'm the co-director of the Mississippi Farm to School Network.
I'm Dorothy Grady Scarborough. I'm from Shelby, Mississippi. I'm the co-director for Mississippi Farm to School Network.
And our network is meant to grow the farm to school movement in Mississippi to get more kids eating fresh, locally grown foods, to get more school gardens where students are learning how food grows, and then just to really make that connection between what you're eating and that it actually comes from somewhere in the earth at some point.
We did small mini grants to help to start up those school gardens. And history has proven itself that when a child is involved in growing food or helping to prepare food, then they are more likely to consume that particular food. So by doing the school gardens, we're encouraging them to do taste testing, and the product that they are growing, they take that food, and when they taste test it, they cook it in the classroom. They also take that particular product, and the food service directors will identify which one is being consumed by the students, and that helps to drive what they purchase from the farmers as well.
My name is Edie Johnson, and I'm the School Food Service Administrator for the Coahoma County School District here in Clarksdale, Mississippi. We love giving the children the opportunity to taste and really see how food tastes in its natural state. And like today, we're having some okras for the children to taste. And later on this week, I'm gonna find out what they thought about the okras. And today we had some Purple Hood peas in the cafeteria. I'm gonna find out what they thought about that. And one more item, sweet potatoes. That's one of my favorites too. And that's something that's grown in the Delta.
So clearly the students are the best part of farm to school work. We often say that it's so hard to get kids to eat good, healthy, delicious food, but if you've ever spent any time in a school garden or in a cooking class with kids, you know it's really not hard once they get their hands on things and they see how it works and they see how it happens, when they are actually digging and pulling things out of the soil, when they're getting to tend to animals, when they're getting to cook and be in a kitchen and empowered in that way. The kids are the most exciting part about farm to school, and they give me so much hope for the future of a healthier Mississippi. So farm to school is so simple in concept. Getting locally grown food onto cafeteria trays, starting school gardens, connecting with your community in this new way. But the details get complicated, and there are some things that are working against us in our state. Even though we're an ag state, 90% of the food that we're eating is coming from outside of the state. And even though it's our #1 export, we're still importing that huge amount of fresh fruits and vegetables, because what we're exporting is not edible food. It's cotton and soy and corn. So there has to be this shift that happens. That's the biggest challenge that we're up against. We need more farmers growing fruits and vegetables, and simultaneously more school districts, more hospitals, more universities willing to buy that product.
It's not necessarily a lot of work, but it's a lot of requirements of them. And a lot of the challenges that they're experiencing is that they are not sure who to connect with. There are some food service directors that are open to the purchases, and you got some that are reluctant, or they might get what the state said initially is that they have to be GIP and GAP certified, which is good agricultural practice and good handling practices of the product. And they feel comfortable with that because they have that liability piece that set them aside. But the state does not restrict farmers from selling straight to the doors in the cafeteria. So that's the piece that we've been working with the food service directors on, is educating them that this product can be purchased from a local area farmer without going through the DoD Fresh program.
So we are a resource for farmers in that we can help them identify those markets and coach them on how to have those conversations with schools. We're also a resource for schools looking to buy local, in that we can help them have those conversations with farmers and figure out timelines. Farmers and schools speak two very different languages. They have different timelines and different years. They have different bottom lines. Mississippi Farm to School Network is here to be a translator, an interpreter, and provide resources that are needed to help make that connection happen. We also, especially our co-director Dorothy, are a great resource for school gardens, for starting school gardens, maintaining school gardens, growing school gardens.
I'm Coach Gibson. I'm a behavioral interventionist at Wingfield High School, also the director of the Natural Resources Utilization Academy. The grant through Miss Scarborough and Mississippi Farm to School has been essential. For this year in particular, the weather had destroyed so many of our transplants. We didn't get a chance to get them to grow like they should, but that grant allowed us to repurchase those transplants and buy hoses that will bring water from our building. And once we did our soil test, the soil was so acidic down here by the pine trees that we were able to buy some what we call garden lime and garden slag. We put that down early, and then we were able to start our seedlings and then make our transplants. So that grant was absolutely essential. So we are certainly indebted to Farm to Schools in Miss Scarborough.
We can help find funding for you. We can help map out where you want the garden to be. We can help figure out how to incorporate it into the curriculum that you're already teaching your students. School gardens are such a great tool, but there's a million different ways to use them, and we can help you figure out what's the best way for your school.
You know, as I think about the work that we're doing, initially in the front I said to build a healthier generation. And people should care, because in the past 10 years, I've seen the downside of more people, not just older people, but our younger people being exposed to different illnesses and diseases that has been on the rise. Health disparities has occurred usually in people 40 plus, but now we're seeing it coming up into some of our 3- and 4-year-old kids being hypertensive or being diabetics and those type things. So if we get enough people on board to help move this type work forward, to taste test, to introduce them to new fruits and vegetables, and what a plate should look like on a regular basis, not just to have a brown plate, but to have a multicolored plate sitting before that particular child, whereas he or she is eating enough fruits and vegetables of a different variety over just having a brown plate with meat, bread, rice, probably another starch. And our goal is not to be number one in health disparities, obesity, hypertension, diabetes, cancer. I want us to be number one in making that change, where we would now be to move the numbers, move the curve from one side to the other, where we won't be exposed to all of those diseases because of the lack of a healthy plate. If we teach our children how to grow this food as young children or as an adult, they will not forget what they have been taught. We might not consume all of what's been taught to us, but if we can just make some lifestyle changes based upon the work that we're doing in Farm to School, we will have a healthier Mississippi.
So it's really time to grow this movement. We have this support. It makes so much sense to do this here in Mississippi, to support our farmers in this way, support our children by providing them this delicious food that also happens to be really good for them. And the way that we're going to do that is by growing the movement, by getting more people involved, more people aware, more food service directors, more farmers, more families, more teachers. And the way that you can get involved is by joining our network at MississippiFarmToSchool.org.